On this week's episode of BJ in the Morning, we're going to talk about real life scary stories from Reddit. Let's go. Welcome to BJ in the Morning. I'm Juan.
And I'm Brendan.
And that was different.
That was pretty different. Did it get you in the spooky?
Spooky?
It get you the spooky vibes?
Spooky?
The scary vibes?
Ah.
That was too scary for me.
So welcome back to an episode of BJ in the Morning. It's like we're like in the 90s now?
It's like 94, 95.
Oof.
Getting up there.
WTF, man.
Where's the fish?
WTF IUP IUWT.
What?
What the fuck is up with that, dude?
No, it's just us being consistent for the most part.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I love it. We love consistency.
And we also like horror movies and spooky movies and scary movies, and it's hard
scary
to
stories.
Oh, yeah, I was
Go
going
ahead,
to segue into that.
Yeah,
It's hard to show like scary stuff when this podcast is mostly audio. Even though a lot of people are watching on YouTube. Thank you for that. While you're watching, make sure you hit subscribe and like and comment below. So that's why we got to throw in some scary stories we found on the internet.
Yeah.
We have a couple today.
Yeah.
Couple heavy hitters. They're long ones. So bear with us while we get through it.
It's going to be a tough one.
It's going to be a tough one. Viewer or listeners, beware. Scary stories. I couldn't rhyme it.
Would you consider our stories NSFW maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't blast these if you're like a childhood teacher,
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
If there's kids in the car, this ain't the episode for them.
Yeah.
Because it's going to deal... I got a story about some spooky ghost kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You got a story you won't even tell me about.
I don't even want to say because it's got me feeling a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's perfect for this episode, but it's not necessarily something you'd want to listen to in front of your kids.
Yeah.
Or
people sensitive to spooky stuff.
Maybe you don't even want to listen to it at all.
And
if
you don't, that's fine. We got 90 something more episodes you can go back and listen to. Last week's was pretty good.
Yeah.
If you missed the pumpkin spice one, that one's fun.
Super fun.
Still.
Just giving you a variety of episodes to go listen to instead of this one.
If you're not into the spooky, scary skeletons and probably serial killers of some sort.
Right.
Or like, mine deals with the untimely event of death. So,
unfortunately.
It's gonna be tough, but let's get spooky.
Let's do it.
Because it's that time of year.
Yeah.
I had this whole joke plan that I was going to bring, because it came out again this year. I'm going to veer off for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Cranberry Sprite is back in stores.
Oh.
And I was going to bring one and just slam it on the table and be like, "'Tis the motherfucking season." But
that's
now,
better for
like when
November.
When we get to November.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I already bought a 12-pack.
Oh, shit. I love that.
It's so good. And it's back in regular and zero, so.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Okay. Now that we had that little reprise from
last
spooky,
year.
I'm just excited that Cranberry Sprite is back. Thanks, Coke. So should we just jump in?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. So this one is from r/NoSleep. So it might be real. It's probably not, but it's still pretty spooky.
Mm-hmm.
And it's from 10 years ago. So it's
Okay.
been up for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it's from user Nate SW.
Okay.
So my dead girlfriend keeps messaging me on Facebook. I've got the screenshots and I don't know what to do. Tonight's kind of the catalyst. Catalyst.
Mm-hmm.
start
Catalyst.
Let me start over. Tonight's kind of a catalyst for this post. I just received another message and it's worse than any of the others. My girlfriend died on the 7th of August, 2012. She was involved in a 3-car collision driving home from work when someone ran a red light. She passed away within minutes on the scene. We had been dating for 5 years at that point. She wasn't big on the idea of marriage. It felt archaic, she said, gave her a weird vibe. But if she had been, I would have married her within 3 months of our relationship. She was vibrant, the kind of girl that would choose dare every time. She was happiest when camping, but a total technophile too. And she always smelled like cinnamon. That being said, she wasn't perfect. She always said something along the lines of, if I go first, just don't just say good things about me. I've never liked that. If you don't pay me out, you're doing me a disservice. I've got so many flaws, that's just part of me. So this is for M. The music she said she liked and the music she actually liked were very different. Her idea of affection was a side hug. She had really long toes like a chimpanzee. I know that's tangential. Tangent? I can't talk today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting it from you. But I don't feel right discussing her without you having an idea of what she was like. On to the meat. M had been gone for approaching 13 months when she first messaged me. And this is from September 4th, 2013. Let me pull it up. September 4th at 3:31, and I'm reading the screenshots, and it's a message from Emily that says, "Hello. Nathan, who is this? It's really weird receiving messages from Emily's account." No response. Nathan hits the double question marks. Okay, well, in the future, please send me messages from your account, even if you want to discuss her page. And then she responds again, "Hello." And Nathan says, "Susan, you're on Emily's account," probably Emily's mom or something, right? This is where it began. I had left Emily's Facebook account activated so I could send her the occasional message, post on her wall, go through her albums. It felt too final and too un-Emily to memorialize it. I share access with her mother, Susan, meaning her mother has her login and password and has spent a total of approximately 3 minutes on the website or on a computer total. After a little confusion, I assumed it was her. November 16th, 2013. So the next one on the list. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
From Emily, 11:16, 12:51 p.m. Hello? Let's hit up blank trail this Sunday. Nathan, who the fuck is this? Emily, the wheels on the bus. Nathan, please tell me who you are. No response. I had received confirmation from Susan that she hadn't logged into M's Facebook since the week of her death. M knew a lot of people, so I instantly assumed this is one of her more tech-savvy friends messing with me in the worst possible way. I noticed pretty much immediately that whoever was chatting with me was recycling older messages from M and my shared chat history. The wheels on the bus comment was from when we were discussing songs to play on a road trip that we never got to do. Hello happens millions of times. Around February 2014, Emily started tagging herself in my photos. I would get notifications for them, but the tag would generally always be removed by the time I go to it. The first time I actually caught one, it felt like someone had punched me in the gut. She would tag herself in spaces where it was plausible for her to be or where she would usually hang out. I've got screenshots from 2, from April and June. They're the only ones that I've caught. Around this period of time, and he posted screenshots. I'll try to put them in the video. Around this period of time, I stopped being able to sleep. I was too angry to sleep. She would tag herself in random photos every couple weeks. The friends who noticed and said something thought it was a messed up bug, and I found out recently that there have been friends who have noticed and didn't say anything. Some of them have removed me from their Facebook friends list. At this point, some of you may be wondering why I didn't just kill my Facebook profile. I wish I had. I did for a little while, and on days when I can't get out there, though, it's nice having my friends available to chat. It's nice visiting M's page when the little green circle isn't next to her name. I was already socially reclusive when M was alive, and her death turned me into something pretty close to a hermit. On March 15th was the next one. And it was just him responding saying, you know, why you keep tagging me, all these things. And then asking who it was, things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you doing this? Why do you keep tagging her, is what he says. On March 25th, I received an answer from Emily. Hello, at 1:52. At 2:27, Emily, hello, hello. And then 2:38, hello, from Emily. Nathan responds at 2:46. This is actually devastating. I don't know why you're doing this. Emily, oh my God, cinnamon scented candles.
Ooh.
Nathan, go to hell. Emily, why are you doing this? It wasn't until I was going over these logs a few months later that I noticed she was recycling my own words as well. My response seemed kind of lackluster here. I was intentionally providing them with emotional bait. This is actually devastating. To keep them interested in the game. I was working off the assumption that the kind of person to do this would be the kind of person that would thrive on the distress of others. I was posting in tech forums, looking for ways to track this person, even contacting Facebook. I needed to keep them around so I could gather evidence. And before anyone asks, yes, I had changed the password and all security info countless times. 16th of April, I received this. From Emily, April 16th, midnight. We should make our own jam. JFC Samantha with the little like scrunch, like the sideways face.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, different. No chance of passing. No chance of passing. How many? Garage side door. Side. No chance of passing. All from Emily.
What the fuck?
This seems like word salad. Like all of our conversations so far, it's just recycled from previous messages she sent. 29th of April. Baked beans on toast. I don't know. I just said, yo, ask Nathan. Nathan. And then Nathan responds, I don't know what's happening. I don't know how you're still doing this. Please stop. Emily, please stop. I don't know what's happening. Nathan, I don't know what's happening. I hadn't discovered any leads. Facebook had told me the locations her page had been accessed from, but since her death, they're all places I can account for. My home, my work, her mom's house, etc. My response here wasn't bait. Yo, ask Nathan was an in-joke, too lame to explain. But seeing her say it just absolutely crippled me. My reaction in real life was much less prettier. I'm not expecting my bond back. I'm guessing security deposit.
Mm-hmm.
Her last few messages had started to scare me, but I wouldn't admit it at this point. 8th of May, I don't really have words for this. So it's like when you make a typo and you do a little asterisk, just says I, and then -12, -15 from Emily. And then Emily responds again, my jumper's in the dryer and it's really cold out. Frowny face. Really cold out. Cold, cold. Nathan, please stop. Cold. Freezing, but it's like FRE space EZIN space G. I don't know what's happening. Freezing is the first original word they've made. This has given me nightmares that have only started to kick in recently. I keep dreaming that she's in an ice-cold car, frozen blue and gray, and I'm standing outside in the warmth screaming at her to open the door. She doesn't realize I'm there. Sometimes her legs are outside with me. 24th of May. Nathan, I'm really drunk. I miss you. Whoever's on this account, I don't give a fuck. I keep coming home from work and expecting to see you at the computer. Shouldn't I be used to that by now? Emily, just let me walk. I wasn't actually drunk. She wasn't an affectionate girl, and it always embarrassed her to exchange I love yous, cuddle, talk about how much we meant to each other. She was more comfortable with it when I was boozed up. I got fake drunk a lot. Her reply is what prompted me to finally memorialize her page, thinking it might help curb this behavior. It might seem innocuous compared to her previous message. It's pasted from an old conversation where I was trying to convince her to let me drive her home from a friend's. In the collision, the dashboard had crushed her. She had severed in a diagonal line from her right hip to midway down her left thigh. One of her legs was found tucked under the back seat. Going back in time to the 7th of August, 2012. Nathan, at 5:36 p.m. Hey, you on your way home? Emily. And then Nathan, again. When you see this message, please ring me straight away. I rang her place of work, and they said you left at 4. I'm starting to panic. I feel sick in my stomach. Please ring me. Nathan, again, at 7:59. Emily, answer your phone. Those are the logs from the day she died. She was usually home from work by 4:30. This, alongside a couple voicemail messages, is the last time I talked to her under the assumption that she was alive. You'll see why I'm showing you these soon. Yesterday, 1st of July, 2014. Emily. Hey, you on your way home? Emily. Emily. And then Emily responds again. Emily, when you see this message, please ring me straight away. Please stop. I rang blank. They said you left at 5. I'm starting to panic. Please stop. Cold. Emily again. Emily. Emily. Answer your phone. I don't know what's happening. Cold. Freezing.
Those are from Emily?
Mm-hmm.
Repeating what he said?
Yeah. And then the last freezing was how it was typed the first time, but without the spaces. So all caps, all that stuff. I memorialized her page a couple of days after I received the message about walking. Until today, she'd been quiet. She wasn't even tagging herself in my photos. I don't know what to do anymore. Do I get rid of the memorial page? What if it is her? I want to puke. I don't know what's happening. I just heard a Facebook alert. I'm too afraid to swap windows and check it. And that's the end.
Dang. That's creepy. That's some creepy stuff.
It's pretty terrifying. And like, again, it's Reddit. We don't know if anything's true or anything like that. So take it as you will.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed, I have the screenshots. I looked at them. I showed you them. Could it have easily been, made up for a good story?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Nonetheless, it's terrifying.
That sounds like a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I feel like in the movie it would like delete account, and then the next day another message after the account's been deleted.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope it's not real, because if it is, either it's hard to believe that it's a ghost, right?
Right.
So if it is somebody messing with him, and a lot of the things that happened could have easily been somebody messing with him, but that's messed up.
Yeah, it's really messed up to do. The only other like way far left field idea I'd have is that he's subconsciously doing it somehow. You know, like
Sleep
that
typing.
upset. You know, yeah, like sleep typing. I don't know. But they are like, there's evidence that they're copy and paste messages most of the time.
Yeah.
Which is also just weird, like to have to go back and find them. Like even if he was that upset and he was getting like delusional, it's not like a split personality thing, right? That's way out there. But I don't know. It the most logical answer is that someone's being an ass, you know? They are the asshole.
Yeah.
But the story is really good.
Yeah.
The pictures that go along with it just add to it.
Add to the creepiness of it.
They really do.
But with that said, I have a story that is also really long. Not as long as yours. No pictures, no proof. But this one, I had a lot of stories to pick from, right? And this one really stood out to me because it is the most... It's the one that gave me the most. It gave me the heebs and the jeebs.
The heebs and the jeebs?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it made me wish and hope that this is not real.
Okay.
But let me just get into it so you can understand. Okay. And I'm not going to read the title because the title, it says it right in the title.
Okay.
All right. Well, this is from r/horror stories by Traditional-Market 85. All right. So, this story was sent to me by one of my subscribers to the email you can find in my profile. He tells me about a clandestine place he worked in, which you wouldn't even imagine in your own nightmares. I warn you that what you're about to read is very strong, so if you are a sensitive mind or stomach, it is better that you don't read it.
This is your chance now, listeners, if you want to.
Yeah, I was originally going to leave that part out, but I was like, maybe
just another reminder.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So here's the story. This is from the kid who emailed him. All right. I don't know where to begin. Maybe because putting into words what I have carried for so long, I fear that the weight will be even more unbearable. Maybe because a part of me refuses to face the fact that what I did was real. That those memories are not just a bad dream. But I can't carry this alone anymore. Guilt like an acid that eats away at my soul, and the only way to try to free myself, even a little, is to bring it out into the light. A long time ago, I worked in a place that I don't talk about with anyone. It was a clandestine. What is that?
Do you want me to look it up?
Look it up.
We'll take another breather before we get into
Take
the
a breather.
heavy stuff.
Yeah. Take a breather. Let's look up what clandestine is.
I'm pretty sure it's like mental. It means something is done in secret, usually illegally, and without official permission. You might describe a meeting as clandestine if it's held in a church. Some synonyms: cloak and dagger, hush hush, secret, surreptitious, undercover, underground.
Got it. All right. So it was clandestine, dark, not only in its location, but in everything it represented. It was a place where dishes with human flesh were served. Yes, just like you heard. It was a basement of a hotel. At first glance, it was just another place, a harmless building in the middle of the city. Anyone who passed there would never imagine what was happening under their feet. But I knew it. I lived it, and it still haunts me every day of my life. It was a restaurant not just for anyone. You could only enter with an invitation, one that not everyone could get. You had to be someone important, wealthy, and willing to do things that most mortals wouldn't dare to even imagine. The boss of the place, a figure I never met in person but that we all feared, was the one who controlled that small and twisted universe. I don't know for sure, but I think that not even the most distinguished clients knew him. Everything was handled with such secrecy that at times I doubted my own existence within those walls. The diners always arrived impeccably dressed, hidden under elegant masks that supposedly protected their identity. But with time, the eyes get used to those details, and although nobody openly admitted it, many of those faces were easy to recognize. Politicians, artists, public figures who outside that basement walked among the people like any other citizen. I remember the mayor of the city, a man who spoke in public about justice and morality, but who in that place showed his true face, one full of hunger and twisted desire. I served them, offering them what they most longed for, even though I knew I was being an accomplice to something monstrous. Worst of all, what torments me more than anything is what we sold. Meat. Meat, period. Meat, but not just any meat. Human meat. And at first, that's what I thought. They served dishes that would make any stomach tremble. Tongue, eyes, brains. It was grotesque, yes, but the pay was so good. In those early days, I tried to convince myself that it was illegal, that I was just doing another job. The process was gruesome. People arrived dead, or so I was told. Employees like me had to dismember them, butcher them with surgical precision, cut the skin, open their bodies, take out the organs. The blood was collected in huge buckets, not just to rid of it, but because it was used to prepare cocktails that the customers tasted as if they were delicate wines. There was an order to it all, a macabre ritual that had to be followed to the letter. Every cut, every organ, everything had its place and purpose. At times, I felt more like an executioner than a restaurant worker. It was hard to bear, but I did it. I did it because I needed the money. My hands shook at first, but over time, they hardened and my soul slowly faded away. Still, there was one thing that always lingered in my mind. Where did they get these bodies from? One day, curiosity got the better of me, and I asked my colleagues. One looked at me with a mixture of pity and fear. He told me that they were usually street people, people who would not be missed. But then, in a low voice, he added that if there was no meat, they had other methods. He never wanted to explain to me what that meant, but I didn't have to think too hard to understand that something more sinister was going on. I worked there for 7 long years. 7 years in which every day I was faced with the revulsion of what I was doing, the nausea of knowing what I was serving. Perhaps did not come only from animals. Okay, that sentence was weird, but there were times that other employees disappeared. They were simply called into the management office and we never heard from them again. No one talked about it, but we all knew. The next day, a new shipment would magically arrive just when the employee had disappeared. Fear kept us silent. Fear and money. We're almost there. The restaurant suddenly closed. I never knew exactly why. Some said it was because the authorities were starting to investigate. Others said it was simply because the boss had decided it was no longer profitable. The truth is, when it finally closed the doors, I felt relieved and terrified at the same time. Relieved that I wouldn't have to be a part of that nightmare anymore, but terrified because I knew that at some point I would have to face what I had done. I came out unscathed, at least physically, but my soul hasn't been the same since. There are nights where I can't sleep because the memories come back. The images of dismembered bodies, the blood running down my hands, the faces of the clients hidden behind their masks, but so easy to identify. Sometimes I even come to think that I was one of them. By accepting that job, I became another monster. There isn't a day that I don't regret it, and although the pay was good, although I could justify myself saying that I did it out of necessity, the truth is that none of that matters. What I did has no excuse, and I know it. I knew it from the first day I set foot in that basement, and now that guilt is my constant companion, a shadow that never leaves me, a reminder of what I was capable of doing for money. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive myself. That's it.
What was the title?
Shit. The Cannibal Restaurant.
Okay.
Oof.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. The hard thing to get your mind around is that rich people get away with a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're in the midst of one rich person in society getting exposed for everything he's got.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We don't need to touch on that anymore. But it's like, I wouldn't put it past some people.
Yeah.
Because rich people get away with a lot.
Mm-hmm. And it almost seems like from some of the stuff that has come out recently, it almost seems like if you're rich, you want to be rich or you want to stay rich, you have to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's almost like...
you get blacklisted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy on some of the things that you hear that are true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, supposedly true.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly true. That has been going on for a very long time.
Yeah.
And how was that kept under wraps for that long?
You talking about the restaurant?
No, I'm talking about like
the things
that have come out, and it's not just that one person. It's other
that's just the one
too.
on people's minds right now.
Right.
Then the last big one that happened.
So if this is true, You know, you got senators, you got mayors, you got
famous people,
artists, rich people, essentially.
Yeah.
Going to this restaurant because it's
human flesh. And it's because they can afford it.
Yeah, because it's what's the
it's
word?
Almost like a status.
Exotic.
Yeah, it's almost like a status thing. Like, I'm better than you.
Yeah. Or like, you know, rich people, they'll go and hunt, you know, big game. You know, they'll hunt elephants and, you know, they'll do all the shit that you can't just go to the forest and do because they can. And is it right? Not necessarily.
No.
Is it illegal? I don't know.
So for what?
For hunting like big game like that? Is it?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, elephants are endangered. You know, how many species have gone extinct? Anyways, shit like that, really illegal. But they do it because they have the money to get out of it. Right. I wouldn't put this, though, the situation in the story, past some rich dude's fantasy. You know, I'm not gonna like attach any names to who I think eats people, but like, there's a lot of rich people out there who get away with a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Also, though, while you were reading, at first I thought it was like kind of like the vibe of that movie, The Menu. Have you seen that?
I have. I've seen it like 4 times.
It's really good.
Yeah.
But like, I almost thought The Menu, the movie, was gonna be about cannibalism. Like when I first started watching it, it's not.
No.
That movie's great. But yeah, in the person's shoes doing that, I don't think any amount of money would make me want to work at a place like that.
No.
But also another thing, cannibalism is not necessarily illegal. It's illegal depending on how you get the meat. So that's where it gets really tricky, and I only know this because of another podcast I listened to.
Yeah.
They did this whole thing about cannibalism and stuff. But how you get the food, the meat, the source, that's where it gets like legally things get involved and intertwined. So
I feel like also, though, like going to this job and then they like you're training and then you see this body on the table and it's like, I feel like
you can't walk away from that.
I feel like you're just like,
I don't think this.
Well, he did say the money was good and fear kept him quiet.
Yeah.
So like, imagine seeing that and then like you're like, okay, well, if I leave tomorrow,
I'm not gonna wake up.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm gone. I'm done. You know.
Yeah, it's not a job where you're just like, here's my key back. I think I'm just gonna go. There's other opportunities out there for me.
Yeah.
No, that's not the kind of job that does that.
Yeah. Scary.
Yeah.
That's scary.
So that's what we got today.
2 stories. Both pretty long.
Ghostly and meatly. Yeah. Do you have any spooky, scary stories you want to tell us?
Any stories that gave you the heebs
and
the jeebs?
Let us know in the comments. Send us messages. Tag, I don't know, put a link down below in the comment. I don't know if you can do that.
Yeah, I think you can.
I don't remember. But thanks for joining. I'm still like,
yeah,
you know?
Me too.
Thanks for joining us on this spooky story episode. We did one last year. We're doing it again this year. We'll probably do it again next year.
Why not?
Why not?
You know what I mean?
So why don't we go do something fun now? Get the heebs and the jeebs out of us.
Get it out.
And why don't you guys go ahead and follow us on some social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram at
BJ in the morning _.
And then if you're watching on YouTube, just scroll down a little tiny bit so you can still see like most of our faces. But there's like a big box that says subscribe.
Dun dun.
And then there's another one next to it that's a little bell. And you should
push
slash that Slash that bell.
Slash that bell. Cha-ching.
And then, just like the video. Comment below.
Yeah.
Let us know about any other spooky stories that we need to check out. And maybe we'll save them for next time. Or, when we run out of ideas, another episode. And we're just like, let's do another spooky one.
Right.
In the middle of summer. I don't know.
Right.
We just do whatever fucking we want over here.
Right.
We just do whatever the heck we want.
Right.
We're rich. We get away with everything.
Right.
We're not rich. Anything else that people should be doing?
Loving us. Sharing it.
Yeah,
share the podcast.
Share it out there.
Yeah.
If you're real bored and you just want to set up a laptop in another room and just put one of the playlists on just in the background, you don't even have to watch it. Just give us.
It'll help out a lot.
Help out the algorithms. No, I'm just kidding. Only one of our listeners does that.
But you also just share it because we do have something coming up.
We got something coming up.
It's
like a month or so away.
We don't want anyone to miss out.
We don't want anyone to miss it. We don't want to miss it.
Nope.
So you can even share with us, even though we know.
Right.
But thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of BJ in the Morning. I'm Brendan.
And I'm Juan.
And
we'll talk to you next time.